All right, so here we are simplifying the difference quotient, and difference quotient, what that means is this f of x plus h minus f of x over h. So just so you know what this is for, this is really slope. This is change in y over change in x. And we will spend some time during the school year kind of developing that understanding of how this relates to slope, but that's what this is for. That's why we're doing this. Here we're just practicing writing it using the notation that we've been practicing throughout this lesson. But I do want you to know that the reason we're doing this is to calculate slope of more complicated functions like our quadratic friend right here. So jumping into the algebra, notice we need two things here. We need f of x plus h, and we need f of x. So I'm just going to start here by writing what f of x plus h is. So f of x plus h, well, what that means, right, is I write f of x, but every time I see an x, I put x plus h. So I'm going to leave a little space here, and in each spot where x was, I'm going to put x plus h, because that's what f of x plus h means, right? And before I ever get to this, I'm going to actually just simplify that to start. It just saves me some work. So you guys know that I distribute my negative. So I get negative x minus h. And then x plus h squared. Well, I'm going to do that over here. To square it, remember we're not distributing that squared. We're multiplying it by itself, and it is a binomial. So what I get is x squared, xh, and h squared. So I get 4 times x squared from my Punnett squared, 2xh, h squared, and that is my f of x plus h. And then now I just distribute. So negative x, negative h is chilling, and then negative 4 gets distributed throughout. So negative 4x squared minus 8xh minus 4h squared. Right, so remember this is f of x plus h. So I'm not done, but I'm most of the way there. So what we are finding, the difference quotient, is f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Right, so I'm going to start by rewriting all of what I just had as f of x plus h. And then the rest of my difference quotient is just minus f of x. And you're going to use parentheses here because we're subtracting the whole thing. And I'm just going to put my original function in here. And then all over h. And that's my difference quotient. And then we're just going to simplify it. So this is a lot of algebra, but it's nothing you don't know how to do already. So boom, boom to start. It does take up a lot of notebook paper, however. Plus x plus 4x squared. And if you've done this correctly at this point, some terms will cancel out. So notice I have minus 4x plus 4x minus x plus x. Those are opposites, they're going to cancel out. And if you've done this correctly, well, what's going to be left over is only terms with h's in there. Make sure you get them all. So I have minus h here, minus 8xh, and then minus 4h squared, all over h. And then I can factor out an h and cancel it out. So I'm pulling an h out. I'm left with negative 1 is my first term. Negative h divided by h is negative 1. Minus 8x minus 4h, all over h, and then those h's cancel. And my final result is something way nicer than what I started with, right? So negative 1 minus 8x minus 4h. And that's my simplified difference quotient. So I'm going to zoom out. This is, again, the hardest thing I've asked you to do on your own this summer. That's my final answer. Notice it has an x and an h in it. That is okay. I'd encourage you to make sure you understand every single step and make sure your notes are super accurate here. That's really going to help you out tackling these.